find yourself in one of these deadly swarms. Outnumbered and out of luck, there is no escape. These are the 10 deadliest swarm B.O.Ws.
Eliminators. To the fine people watching this video, let me introduce to you the most annoying fucking monkeys on planet Earth, the Eliminators. And now I understand why they're called that. As soon as you get swarmed by 3 of these, you'll want to eliminate yourself. The stun lock these primates can loop the player in is infamous, to say the least. Like, if you just look up Resident Evil Eliminators on Google, you'll find various horror stories of just how hard it is to deal with a mob of these. I don't wish extinction on any species, usually, except maybe mosquitoes, but these guys gotta go. Do us a solid, God. Margaritas bussy bugs. It all makes sense why Marguerite calls her bugs her pretties. They are literally her children, and I mean they actually spawn out of her goopy snatch. My god, that's the worst way to describe a character right there. Anyway, Marguerite's bussy bugs can be pretty deadly, and I don't mean just the smell alone. You'll need to concoct a flamethrower in order to destroy their nests. Now that's called durability there. And maybe it's because Resident Evil 7 is a first-person horror game, but the bussy bugs' stings look incredibly painful, even if Ethan just shrugs them off. Glasps. Some of you may not be familiar with the Glasps of Revelations 2. Here's how they kill people. Let's debrief here. The Glasps are invisible, floating, insect-like creatures that snap your shit up instantly. Then when you're dead and have become a fresh carcass, it spreads its Glasp hive all over you. What a fucking dickhead. The Glasp may just be the deadliest on this list. Yeah, that's right, even deadlier than Margie's poon bugs, solely because of its abilities to stalk without delay and the spread of its swarm. I'd imagine the Glasp would be the hardest insect thing to exterminate. Web spinners. I have to give a spot to the original swarm type enemies, the web spinners from Resident Evil 1. Imagine this scenario. You're already dealing with flesh-eating monsters and zombie dogs, and then you come across a hive of big-ass spiders. The WTF factor must have been off the charts. I love the sound design as well. You'll just hear ominous, heavy spider steps close by. Web spinners aren't just a strange addition though. Eventually, the spiders would introduce a new mechanic to the series, poison. That's right, poison is a pretty OP damage dealing mechanic, in that it'll drain your actual HP down to a danger status if you don't find a blue herb in time, making them a pretty admirable group of foes, if nothing else. Novistadors. In order to properly introduce Los Novistadores, take a look at what Ramon Salazar says about them.
I let our miserable insects out for some exercise down in the sewer.
Thanks. That should keep me company, cause boredom kills me.
Miserable insects is actually pretty accurate. Los Novistadores are one of the more deadlier groups on this list for a combination of 2 things: invisibility plus acid spitting. Could you imagine dealing with even just one of these in real life? You'd have nowhere to hide. Thankfully, we can deal with these beasts as Leon S. Kennedy, who's equipped with an American-friendly amount of firepower. But even then, if you're low on health, you might want to be extra careful when outnumbered by Novistadors, which in English, by the way, means unseen creature. Gyozo. When you see a comically giant red button next to a water fountain, just don't press it, or else innocent little fish will evolve into the Gyozo, a horrific swarm of piranha-like B.O.Ws. Piranhas are already scary on looks alone, but the Gyozo is terrifying. And a school of them? Hell no. Now, within the boundaries of Revelations 1, these might be one of the weaker groups on the list, but the fact that they can move around on land makes them twice as dangerous, at least in practice. Like sharks, killer whales, and the Cthulhu. You'd only have to worry about these twerps near the sea, but imagine they can just walk up towards you. I'd rather just drown, honestly. Plague crawlers. Don't worry, the play crawlers are the second Resident Evil 0 B.O.W. on this list, but they ain't the last one. As we all know, RE0 features some of the most annoying swarm monsters ever. If I had to give a compliment to the design team that created the play crawlers, it's just that sound design, man. Very ominous and deceitful. You'll never really know when these jumpy crackhead bastards are coming after you. Worse yet, they attack your shins. If you've ever felt the intense pain of being hit in that location, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, look at this thing's render. It's a giant, greasy cockroach. And they're in the game in packs, by the way. Leeches. This might as well be a Resident Evil 0 video. The Leeches are an extension of James Marcus, who made it his life's work to study and eventually produce a nearly indestructible virus spearheaded by his wonderful leeches. They killed the shit out of James Marcus, but his leeches lived on. They quite literally carried his cells into the afterlife and are now on a revenge tour against Wesker and Birkin. Now, in the game, the leeches are just obnoxious little ornaments that cling on to Rebecca and Billy. The damage they deal is questionable at best, but within the lore of the series, what these leeches were able to achieve when they put their microscopic brains together is impressive, actually. Thankfully, they were destroyed, but it could have been a bloodbath. Kipepeo. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. I'd like to think that the Kipepeo of Resident Evil 5 are the natural evolution of the Novistadors. Wait, no, I wouldn't like to think that at all. The Kips are ravenous beasts that spawn directly out of the Maginis, and their movements definitely rival RE4's acid-spitting monsters. These things are all over the place, and they can be difficult to deal with, but in the end, these flying crackheads are just jobbers, and are simply in the way for the most part. What's most impressive about the Kipepeo is its biology. How in the hell does a creature of that size spawn out of a human head? I mean, it's pretty insane. Moths. I fully expect you guys to share your war stories on how you dealt with the moths of Code Veronica, because what the fuck were they thinking here? And I like moths, they're harmless. Even the moth's design within the game isn't like horrific or anything, it's not a zombified moth. These things are insanely devastating to deal with. The stun lock is insane, and add to that, tank camera controls, and well, you're cooked. At times you'll feel that you can't even really move. I'm sure there's a sense of dread that grips anyone that's played this game as they approach that moth nest, and that's easily why they are one of the deadliest swarms in Resident Evil. If you like exploring off-camera details like what the Duke's butthole looks like, check out the new video on this channel. If you like insane Resident Evil 4 mods with pedo cultists, check out the second channel. Leave a like on this video if you like to see more countdowns. I love you.
Like and subscribe for more horror content. And as always, stay singing.